How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video at Battlegrounds Game Center. I'm Patrick, and today we're going to be doing a quick run through of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Spearhead, the Fire and Jade book, as well as the cards and everything. This is what comes in the new Skaventide box set, so instead of just playing regular 4th edition AOS, this is a new, quicker way to play it. That takes about an hour, and if you want to try different armies, you don't have to get a lot of models to really start and play this. It has all the war scrolls already in this book, along with all of the abilities and everything. So it's a nice, complete package so that you can really get into Age of Sigmar. So we're just going to run through the book a little bit, show what's inside it, what comes in it, as well as the cards that come for Spearhead. So like these are the twist cards for the different locations, and then these are the battle trait cards, or battle tactic cards rather, that have like your abilities and how you can score and stuff. So well, let's go ahead and dive into this book and see what comes in it. All right, so we're looking at the Fire and Jade book, which is the first battle pack for Spearhead. I would imagine as time goes on, they'll have more books that come out, or just more cards and battlefields and such, because this one actually comes with a double-sided battlefield, which already has objectives on it, so you can get started into the action a lot quicker. All you need is a Spearhead for one of the armies you want to play, and then this is going to tell you how the Fire and Jade works. So what the battle plans are, there's going to be an Akshi twist deck and a Gyren twist deck, which are going to be these. So based on whatever battlefield you're playing on, you're going to be using one of these decks, and each round you're going to be flipping one over. It'll tell you some kind of new ability to either score or whatnot, and then if you're an underdog, which means you have less points, you'll also get an additional ability. But we're going to go through all of these here towards the end of the video. Right now, we're just going to quickly run through this book and just kind of show you the layout, what it looks like. You're also going to get some terrain in the Skaventide box set, which is used for Spearhead. You got 2 large pieces and 2 small pieces, and that's all you need for Spearhead. So it's a really low cost of entry just to get started playing smaller games. So then we got objectives here, how reinforcements work. So since this isn't a big game where you have a bunch of models, there's going to be some units that have the reinforcement keyword, which once they're destroyed, they'll have the ability to come back onto the board the following movement phase, which is really cool. Like one of my Spearheads is Gargants, which is just 3, regular old Gargants, but the regular ones have, one is a general, but the other 2 have reinforcements. So if one perishes, then they'll be able to come back on. So even though I only have 3 models, essentially I have 5 because you can bring reinforcements once. So kind of like an overview of what a Spearhead battle looks like, how you set up. And then we get into the battle plan. So the different sides will have different territory setups. They have, like I said, the objectives already printed out, how deployment works. Spearhead only goes for 4 rounds instead of 5, like the normal AOS. So you're definitely going to have a quicker game. And then we get into the armies. So I love that they put all of the battle traits, enhancements for each army, as well as their war scrolls in this book. So I thought that was really cool. This is for Stormcast Eternals. I believe they and the Skaven have 2 different Spearheads, because you have the original Spearhead and then the one that comes in the new Skaventide box set, which is pretty cool. And you can tell here which war scrolls have reinforcements. They have this little recurring symbol, and then of course the keywords on the bottom. So if one of these units gets taken off the board during your next movement phase, you'll be able to bring them back one time. So that's pretty cool. And then here's the other Spearhead for Stormcast. So that's the original one that has like the chariot and all that. So then you got Cities of Sigmar, and it goes in order of order, chaos, death, and then destruction. So you got Seraphon. We're not going to go through every single, other people have already gone through all these. I'm just kind of giving you a nice little overview of the book and its layout. So Lumineth Realm Lords. So yeah, Daughters of Cain. And then just to go here, just kind of move on. So you have all your different war scrolls, all the different armies, but we can look at one of them, and we'll look at one of my armies just because, why not? I'm going to be playing them here soon. So Soulblight Grave Lords. So your Spearhead, when you're looking at it, it'll tell you on the top left here what it includes, like your general and your units, and they have some lore, which is always cool. And then you're going to have your battle traits, which are going to be basically your abilities for your army. So usually you have 2, one that's like an activated one and one that's a passive, at least what I've seen. So like with the Soulblights here, they have swoop down, which puts the Vargeist up into reserves basically, and then from battle round 3 they can come on the board. So they actually don't start on the board, they fly in later. And then you have the Hunger for their passive, which allows them to heal, or vampire units to heal after they deal damage. And then you'll get to choose a regiment ability, and then you'll get to choose a general enhancement. So these are options. So each Spearhead, even though you're playing the same units in the same army, you're going to have different options with the regiment abilities enhancements. So each time you play, it might be a little different. And then on my opposite side here, I got like my War Scrolls. And then if you've been paying attention to AOS, so they've kind of changed up how the War Scroll looks a little bit. So we've got our movement, our save, or control now, instead of like a bravery stat. So this is how much control they put onto an objective. So yeah, if you have more control on an objective, you're controlling it, and so you'll score it. Then you got your health value of 5 for the Vampire Lord, health value of 3 for the Blood Knights, which comes with 5. And the way health now works is as you take damage, you'll just put a number or a die or whatever you want to use to track next to the unit. And once you hit 3, you'll just choose one of your models to remove. It's no more picking a specific model, putting that amount of wounds on it, and then once that takes out enough wounds, it goes away. You actually get to pick which model you remove each time, which I like that change. It's pretty cool. Along with like the 3-inch range for combat, which made me very happy because my Death Rattle Skeletons were only ever like range 1 inch, even though most of them had spears. So now they're all 3 inches, which is cool. So you get a lot more dice rolling in combat, and maybe even a little bit more lethality now, which is pretty cool. So you have 4 different War Scrolls for the Soul Blight here. And then we continue. So that's Death, and then you got your Night Hunt, and then you get into Destruction, which is like the Orc War Clans. And then you got Gloomspite Gits. And then the very last page, there's only 2 pages, is the Sons of Behemoth, because there's only 1 War Scroll here, but they have reinforcement, so they'll be able to come back. So yeah, that's all the different War Scrolls, and then you get into the rules. The rules are pretty much the same as 4th edition. So if you've already learned how to play that, you can get right into this. There are a few differences with the fact that you're going to have your battle trait cards here, or battle tactic cards, which is how you're going to be scoring additional, like they're basically like secondaries. If you've played 40K and like how their secondary deck works, it's like that. But the other big difference is they're going to have command abilities here. So you actually make a choice whether you want to score or you want to use a command ability. That's a difference from regular AOS where you start with command points and you can spend them on abilities. That's this deck instead. And then of course there's only 4 rounds instead of 5, but most of the rules for like coherency, combat range, stuff like that, it's all the same. Showing you how to set up for battle. One person will drop their whole army and then the next person will. Priority roll is a little different. So if you get the double turn, you get to choose who goes. So you can take the double turn if you want or give it to your opponent. But if you take the double turn, you won't get to draw back up your battle tactic cards unless you're losing, I believe. So there's a lot more choices now than it used to be. There's a nice little breakdown. We got movement and so on, attacking. Nice little attack diagram here. A bunch of examples. So this book will come out separately. I think there'll be like a Spearhead pack, which will have this book and the cards and the board and everything. So if you don't want to get the Skaventide box and you just want to play Spearhead, like they'll have this as an option. But it was really cool that they decided to include Spearhead in addition to regular just AOS 4th edition with the Skaventide box. Really double up. You got your Spearhead glossary for all of the different abilities. What happens at end of turn, and then nice Spearhead reference in the back, along with your universal core abilities. So you still have all those core command abilities that you can do. So yeah, that is a Spearhead book. It is a nice book. It has the little bookmark and everything. Really like this, but let's go ahead and take a look at the cards now and how those work. So yeah, we'll go ahead and look at the battle tactics here first. So you get 2 copies of each of these cards, so each player will have their own deck of them. And then you'll shuffle them, you'll draw 3 cards, and that's going to be your hand for the round and how you'll score additional points. And then you also have the option, of course, to use them as command abilities instead. So let's go ahead and just run through these and see what they're all about. So the first one I got here is Raise. So this is, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are any friendly units within 3 inches of the long battlefield edge. So a lot of these are going to be pretty easy to accomplish. They only score you 1 point. But then if you want, instead, you can use it as a command. So during any hero phase, Inspiring Presence, you can pick a friendly hero to use this ability. You roll a dice for the rest of the turn, add the number rolled to the control score of that hero. So if you want to make your hero just a little bit better at controlling the objective, you can do that instead. Next, we've got the Ignex Dice. So you complete this battle tactic if you control the Ignex objective at the end of your turn. And you'll see here there's like little symbols. Some of the objectives will have, or all the objectives will have a different symbol. So this tells you which one. So that's kind of cool that they're already printed on the board. So you don't have to be like, oh, wait, which one did we pick to be the Ignex? Nope, it's just on the board. And then you have command ability is Forward to Victory. It's used by this unit during the charge ability, so it's a reaction after you declare a charge, and then you can reroll the charge roll. So this just allows you to reroll charges. You've got the Behemoth Dice, so you complete this battle tactic if you control the Behemoth. So there's going to be a bunch of these, but then you have Scroll of Arcane Bolt, so a hero phase. You can pick a friendly hero to use this ability, pick a visible enemy within 12 inches, and then roll a dice. On a 2-up, you inflict D3 mortal wounds. We've got the Dracothian Dice, so you can, if you control it, or reaction, your opponent declared a shoot ability. So if they declare a shoot, you can do this. Go to ground, a friendly unit targeted by the shoot ability. Effect until the end of the phase, only unmodified hit rolls of 6 successfully hit. However, that unit has strike last. So basically they just drop on the ground, you know, trying to avoid hits, but they don't get to do combat until the very end. We've got Hold Ground, which you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are more friendly models contesting the large terrain feature. So that's why there's 2 large terrain features or 2 small. So your battle tactics are going to refer to those. In your territory, then there are enemy models contesting it. So if you control your large terrain feature in your territory, you'll just score this. So at the beginning of the game, this is a pretty good one to draw. Just 1 free point, really. And then command, any combat phase, rise to the challenge. You can pick a friendly hero to use this ability, and then they'll just heal D6. We've got War of Attrition. So you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if any enemy units were destroyed this turn, and more enemy units than friendly units were destroyed this turn. So if you're wiping out their units. Or you can use it as a command for enemy hero phase, stand ground. You can pick a friendly unit to use this ability. That unit has strike first. You've got Take the Flanks, which is you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are any friendly units within 3 inches of the short battle edge. So you have that for short, and you have one for long. Or you can use the command to redeploy. Pick a friendly unit that is not in combat to use this ability. That unit can move up to D6 inches. That unit cannot move into combat during any part of that move. And remember, moving into combat is like a 3-inch aura, but you have to be within ½ inch from a charge to initiate combat. You got Take Without Warning. So this one is you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you gain control of an objective that was controlled by your opponent at the end of the turn, and none of the units contesting that objective used a fight ability this turn. So yeah, if you just take control and wipe them out, and then you get it. Or you can fight to the last, friendly unit targeted by the attack ability. That unit has a ward 5-up. And then attack on 2 fronts. Okay, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control 2 objectives that are controlled by your opponent at the start of the turn. Or you can do the command, call reinforcements. You can pick a friendly infantry or cavalry unit with 5 or more models that has been destroyed and has not already been replaced. Set up a replacement unit consisting of D3 models. So instead of bringing reinforcements back up on your turn, you can do this during another person's turn, but you don't get a full unit. You got Cut Off the Head. You complete this battle if the enemy general is slain. The enemy general is slain in an earlier turn, and any enemy units were destroyed this turn. Or you can countercharge. You can pick a friendly unit that is not in combat. This unit gains a charge ability as if it were your charge phase. So a lot of these command abilities are going to be like normal command abilities that you spend command points in regular AOS. But this, you just use the card. And then lastly, you got Raid. You complete this battle tactic if you end your turn and any friendly units are wholly within enemy territory and not in combat. And then Steel Defense for command ability used by a friendly unit targeted by an attack. Ignore the Ren characteristics of that attack. So yeah, pretty cool, cut and dry. They tell you how they work. So when you draw them, like you have a pretty clear plan on what you need to do. But that's not all. In addition, whenever you're playing on one of the specific battlefields, you're going to have a twist card, which you're going to draw one each battle round. So there's only 4 battle rounds, but there's 6 cards, so you won't always have the same ones each game. So the first one here is for the Gyron. So this is the green side, Jade. You can take the land. So each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end of the turn if there are more friendly models contesting the large terrain feature in the enemy territory than there are enemy models contesting it. In addition, if you're the underdog, which means you've got less points, the underdog adds 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by friendly units that target a unit contesting a large terrain feature. So it's all about the large terrain feature for that twist, for that battle round. Okay, so next we've got Reclaim Gyron. The underdog picks 2 objectives on the battlefield. If there is no underdog, each player picks 1 objective on the battlefield, starting with the active player. Then each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end of the turn for each of those objectives that they control. If you've got Alariel's Blessing, the underdog can pick 1 of the effects below. If there's no underdog, the players roll off and the winner can pick the effect. You got Shield of Thorns. Pick a friendly unit on the battlefield. That unit has Ward 6 this battle round. If that unit already has a Ward save, add 1 to the Ward roll instead. So like for my Soul Blight, they all have a Ward 6. They would all get a Ward 5. Or the 1 unit that you pick. And then you got Reign of Jade. Pick up to 3 different units, friendly units on the battlefield, and you can heal D3. Very cool. You've got Lifespring. The underdog picks 1 objective on the battlefield. If there's no underdog, the players roll off. The objective becomes a Lifespring this battle round. Each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end if they control it. In addition, at the end of each turn of this battle round, after victory points have been scored, you just heal 1 to that unit for controlling the objective. Very cool. And then we've got the Grandfather's Blessing. The underdog can pick 1 of the effects below. If there's no underdog, you players roll off. Nurgle's Rot. Pick an enemy unit on the battlefield. Subtract 1 from the save rules for that battle round. Or Eroding Miasma. Pick an enemy unit on the battlefield. Ward rolls cannot be made for that unit this battle round. And then lastly, you've got Grasping Vines. The underdog picks an enemy unit on the battlefield. If there's no underdog, you roll. That unit is ensnared until the end of the battle round. Have its move characteristic and roll 1 fewer dice when making a charge roll. So nasty. So if you're losing, you have a lot of options to really slow down your opponent and hopefully get back in the game. So these twist cards are pretty cool, but that is for one side. And then you got the Akshi, which is the fire side. So let's look at the first one here. You got Let the Blood Flow. Each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end of the turn for each enemy unit destroyed that turn. In addition, if one of the players is an underdog, that player picks 1 friendly unit on the battlefield to be frenzied. Add 1 to hit rolls for combat attacks made by that unit this battle round. Ring of Fire. The underdog picks 1 objective on the battlefield. If there is no underdog, the players roll off, and the winner picks the objective. The added objective is no longer controlled by either player and cannot be contested or controlled this battle round. In addition, at the end of each turn in this battle round, after victory points have been scored, inflict D3 mortal damage on each enemy or each unit that has any models on it. So the Jade side is obviously about healing. The red side is obviously about just more damage and all that. So it's pretty cool. The underdog picks 1 objective on the battlefield. If there's no underdog, the players roll off. The objective is wreathed in smoke. Until the end of the battle round, only unmodified hit rolls of 6 successfully hit for attacks that target a unit contesting that objective. You got Mount the Attack. Each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end of the turn for each objective they control that was controlled by their opponent at the start of the turn. In addition, the underdog picks 1 friendly unit to be the Spearhead. That unit's melee weapons have charge plus 1 damage. So when they charge, they get plus 1 damage to their attacks. Then you got Reclaim Akshi. The underdog picks 2 objectives. If there's no underdog, each player picks 1, starting with active player. Each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end of the turn for those objectives that they control. So similar to the other one on the other deck. And then you got Bloodmarked. The underdog picks 1 unit in each player's army that is on the battlefield. If no underdog, each player picks 1 enemy unit on the battlefield to be bloodmarked, starting with the active player. Each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end of the battle if the enemy bloodmarked unit is destroyed. So those are the different twists for Akshi and Gyron. And as they come out with new battle packs, you'll get new twists, probably new boards, and so on. So I like this. This is pretty cool. It makes it nice and easy to follow. It has a little bit more of a board game feel to it, which I appreciate. I always like, I'm a big board gamer, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, those are the twist cards, and then you got the battle tactics with the commands. You have your Spearhead book here. In addition, there's also this that came. So this is basically the rules for General's Handbook 2024, 2025. It has all like the missions. I don't think this is, I think they have a General's Handbook coming out, so I don't know. I honestly don't know if that replaces this or if it's the same thing, it's just in book form, but they have these nice cards that come in the book. So it has your advanced rules, battlefield, and this is just for regular AOS, not necessarily Spearhead, but I thought this was kind of cool to see. You got your season guard, season rules, honor guard. It has all your universal battle tactics here, and then each Grand Alliance has their own battle tactics like order, death, chaos, and so on. So if you're playing one of those orders, you just take one of these cards. And then you got your battle plans, so all of the different layouts and everything. And then what I liked was they had one of these at the back. So this is just a nice, scorecard that you can just make photocopies of. So pretty cool. This doesn't have anything to do with Spearhead, but I thought it was a cool thing to show off. So this is all the different stuff you need to play Spearhead. I didn't show off the board or anything. I have that and in the terrain, but these are all the cards, the book that has all the war scrolls in it. So if you want to play Spearhead, this is stuff you're going to need. I'm really excited to try it out. I do plan on running a few games here this weekend. We're going to film a few battle reports, so hopefully I'll have those out before release next week on July 13th for the Skaventide box set. And again, if you're interested in picking that up at the store, we'll have a bunch of copies available. We had some pre-orders, but we should have a bunch of extras for people, as well as like the battle, the faction packs and war scrolls and stuff like that. So if you're interested in getting that, stop in next weekend and see what we got. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, go ahead and like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And until next time, I'm Patrick at Battlegrounds Game Center. See you later.